All right, Flyover Country.
Hello, everyone. This is really cool. Thanks for making this all happen, and wonderful presentations to everyone who's gone before. So I'm Shane Loeffler. I'm one of a team of developers who are working on the Flyover Country mobile phone app, and we are starting a company around it, but we'll get to that later. The main idea here is that you're flying in the sky, you're 30,000 feet or so up in the air, you're looking at the airplane window and you're wondering what you're flying over. You're seeing all kinds of wonderful landforms and asking questions about the patterns that you're seeing, but there's no way to get information about that wonderful view that you have while you're up there. And so that view is kind of what we're trying to capture. We think that can be better in-flight entertainment than any movie to distract you from your experience of flying. While you're up there, this is the experience that you're having. So we've been working on this phone app for a couple years now. You can grab it in either store, iOS or Android, and it's free, funded by the National Science Foundation, and here's how it works. So before you're out, you've bought your plane ticket, but before you go to the airport, and you're on good Wi-Fi, you're going to load up our app, and you're going to enter your flight path. And so I'm going to hit Start Path there. You can choose whether you're on the ground or the sky, so this also works from the ground, right? You can go on a road trip, or you can go on a hike and have interesting things to understand about the landscapes you're traveling through. But we're going to go flying today. You can choose what kinds of things you're interested in. I'm interested in all of them because I helped build this, but you can choose your own adventure there. So I'm going to go ahead and say search there. Let's go from MSP to San Francisco for now. And you can add another waypoint there if you needed to do a layover. And we'll go ahead and create paths. So it's going to calculate a flight path, and it's going to go out to several different geoscience databases as well as some other sources and ask what information do you have about the landscape that you're going to be flying over. And so this kind of strip of a Band-Aid that you see there of all these different colors is different pieces of information that you can learn about as you're flying over this landscape. And so we're going to zoom in here a little bit, and I'm going to toggle off a couple of these layers. So we'll turn off the geologic maps. That's the colorful, wonderful background that you see there. Those are all different types of rocks. We like rocks. So we'll turn those off for a second as we zoom in. All the other colors that you see there, those little dots, those are different sources of information. And as we zoom in, those clusters, those numbers that you see there will kind of populate out to where they actually are. These are just clustered up to make it a little bit less busy. So I'm zooming in on something in our flight path. It's the Wind River mountain range in Wyoming, really beautiful place. This picture on the left that you see there is actually a shot from a flight to San Francisco that we flew over the Wind River range. So you see all kinds of cool, you see snow there. As a geologist, I see glaciers there. And now you can kind of zoom in and see, if we start clicking on some of these pieces of information, we can start to learn about those different features that are down there. So I could choose this glacier and read the Wikipedia article in this case about that feature. I'm going to toggle back that geologic map to get us a little more colorful there. And so we can see all kinds of different rock formations there. If you want to understand something more about those, just tap anywhere on the map. It'll give you some pretty gnarly looking terms there, but this just, Archean means old, like 4 billion years old. So like this rock was formed at the time that life was starting on Earth. And you can think about that as you fly over that piece of, that's pretty cool. That's really cool, I think. So we can click on the other wonderful colors and find out other old cool things about the landscape that we're flying over. If I zoom back out, we can check a couple of the other types of things that we're incorporating into the experience as you're flying. So these kind of tealy colored ones are dinosaur fossils. So you can kind of be flying over, your kid is wondering what happened down there, and you can say, dinosaurs lived there once, which is kind of a weird, crazy thing to say to your kid on a flight to San Francisco. But it's true, it actually is true. So those are some of the things that you'd kind of encounter on your flight. But the key is that this needs to work in airplane mode, no internet. You don't want to pay for Wi-Fi while you're flying. And it needs to work without any kind of connection. So like I said, you're in your house before you headed to the airport. You're going to save this path, this strip that we've drawn here for offline use. So this next button that you'll click here is Save for Offline. And this will give you a couple choices. You can choose what base maps you want. You can choose which of those things that you find interesting. I'm going to skip this because I've already, it'll take 2 minutes or so. It'll be 100 or so megabytes for that, maybe a little bit less. for that little flight path, and it's all saved to your phone. So that's the maps, that's the article text, that's everything about the dinosaurs, the little pictures of the dinosaurs, everything is saved to your device. You don't need a connection. And so then you would go to the Save menu, it would be there, and you would load it up. So now you're completely offline. The next thing that it turns out is surprising and is kind of terrific that it works in airplane mode is GPS. Your location actually can be tracked while you're in airplane mode because it's just listening for the signals from the satellites. It's not actually transmitting anything. So your location is up for grabs, and you're in the window seat, you're tracking yourself. You can hit our little track button, kind of goes into a kind of perspective view. It'll follow you along and rotate with you and drive along your path, and you can kind of follow your adventure. So from there, you've got all kinds of things to read about as you're going, but probably, at least on part of your flight, it's going to be cloudy. But clouds are pretty cool. So we have things about clouds as well. So we have a section that'll help you understand a little bit more about identifying clouds that you're flying through or flying over or under. And so this is written by a local weatherman, Kenny Blumenfeld. He's a super funny guy, so all of this is written in a pretty ridiculous, funny way. Super entertaining. You can understand clouds from the ground if you feel like reading this, but also while you're up in the sky, you can identify why is that cloud bank there and not over there, and what does it have to do with that mountain range next to it. You can learn about those things. Another section that we've got here is different landscape patterns. So there's lots of interesting patterns, both natural and man-made, that have kind of a cool signature and are really interesting from above. So these are a lot of satellite imagery here. So things like crops, of course, but also things like, if you go into the human landscapes one, you can find out about like ski slopes and like oil fields and all kinds of weird stuff that people do to the landscape below, and kind of help you understand what the heck that pattern that you're seeing as you're flying over is. Of course, as a geologist, I love the rivers and how they do interesting snaking, moving weirdness through time. So it can tell you about the past history of that place as well. So moving forward, we have a lot of ideas of what we can do with this. We're working towards getting augmented reality into this, so you could kind of point it out the window to aim down at the kind of like a sky map, but reverse it down towards the ground. And we're starting this company called Flyover Country, Inc., and we're going to try to get this kind of information about this experience of flying up into airplane seatbacks and into in-flight entertainment systems, because that would be pretty cool, we think. So we're working on starting that process. We're looking for just trying to get connections with people who are in the in-flight entertainment industry and in the airline industry, just to get off the ground, because we think this idea has some legs, and it's been fun to work on. So really appreciate you guys listening, and we have stickers and things like that, so thanks. Come see us.